I can put it off no longer. I'm going to have to reseal the boom cylinders. They're starting to leak quite badly. It's okay for about half an hour until the oil warms up, and then it just starts sort of pouring out. It's not going to be the most fun job. It's something I've been putting off for a wee while, but it needs to be done, so we'll get into it. Just flatten off these tabs. Alright. These cylinders are heavy as, so I'm just going to lower them down gently with a rope so I can control the rate of descent. This is my special tool. The hydraulic lines off. There's still a lot of oil on this side of the piston, so as I pull that rod out, I'm going to get quite a bit of oil coming out of here, so I might just put a bit of a hose on there and direct it into the funnel so it doesn't go everywhere, because if I pull that rod out, oil's just going to go out that way, so try and get it into the funnel. Alright, let's have a look at that bore in there. Can't see any scoring in there, doesn't look too bad. It's a 69mm nut. Unfortunately, the only thing I've got close to it is about 74mm. To buy a spanner is about $300, so I won't be doing that. So I could either make another tool to fit that, but that would take a few hours to do, or I could try and make this one fit. Yeah, I think that might work. It ain't pretty, but it should do the job. It's all nice and tight in there now, so we'll give it a wee try. Yes, it worked. Looks about right, just over 100, and yeah, 76ish. I think they're about right. Looks good. So that's the piston and rod seals. Got them from a place called Friday Parts. They arrived pretty quickly actually. They were here in just over a week, so that's not too bad. And they all seem to be the right size. Fairly good quality as well. And these are the rest of the backup seals and O-rings, which I picked up locally from Bearings and Engineering. And that was like $350 just for these ones. It's not a cheap thing to fix. But I think that's all I need, so I can start putting it back together. Right, so I'll wait till I've tightened this on the rod before I turn on this lock nut, just because it'll be easier to sort of hold in place. So that one's done for now. I'll put that aside. Alright, there are a lot of seals in here because it's like a double cap sort of arrangement, but it's good because it makes it sort of easier to get seals in and out like this. I think I'd far prefer this than when you have to try and squeeze a seal in there and get it in the middle of a cap. This is the easiest way to do it. And that's pretty loose in there actually, that rod seal. That could have been part of the problem, because this is where it was actually leaking, through this rod seal. So it's obviously pretty worn out. And the backup, the Teflon sort of seal. So there's a locking wire holding that wiper in place. Locking ring. A wee bit of light rust on that, so I'll get some steel wool, I think, and just give that a light skim to take the worst of it off. I don't want to be scoring it too badly though, so just enough to get that rust off there. Yeah, that feels a lot better now. It could have been that was causing the leaking, because it was quite rusty in there. You probably could get that machined if you were being fussy, but I think that'll be okay. Trouble is you can't really go out anymore, because then you'll create a clearance between the seal and the cap. Try and get these on without twisting the O-rings. Look for the line all the way around, then you know it's not twisted. Yep, that looks pretty good. No twist. Looks good. It's going to be pretty tight in there, so I'll pop that seal in the freezer just to shrink it down a little bit. So I'll put the seal in the freezer for 10 minutes and warm this up on the stove. I've got my special seal pusher here. That'll do it. Get this locking ring back in there. Right, the Teflon backup ring. And rod seal. Alright, that's that end cap done. Ready to go in. That looks like it's all seated nicely. Should be good. So that cap can go back on there now. Put a bit of oil on those just so they slide in nice and easy. Make sure it's not pinching that O-ring. Just a slight bend on the end of it, and that'll keep it under the locking ring. Alright, see how that can't come back out now. It's sort of locking itself in there. If you didn't turn the end of that wire over, it could potentially work its way out of there while the machine's working, so if you kink it over, it can't come out until you bend it back. So we'll turn that round to there, and that should be good. That's all lined up. Just making sure it's not pinching the O-ring as it goes on. That looks pretty good. Alright, that's all I can do for now. I'll torque that up and pinch those locking washers over when the ram is back in place. So, one down, one to go. I'm just taking the second ram off, and I noticed that hose is just about to go, I think. It's not going to last much longer at all, so luckily I happen to have another one, which is I think the right size, so I'll put that on while I'm in here. Saves a hassle later on.
What are you doing?
Fixing the old digger.
I thought you fixed it.
I did one of them, I've got to do the other one. Yeah, there's two. Those piston seals are starting to crack a little bit, so kind of lucky I got those. That could have been a mess. You can see that seal there has come apart. That's probably where the rainwater's been getting in, and that's why it's gone all rusty in there. See, that's the big nut there, mate. On the end of the rod, and I've got to do it up with the giant spanner, you see?
Yeah.
It's got to be real tight. We have to get it so that the pin can go through that hole.
Yeah.
To just turn it a wee bit further, you watch. Got to have a big pipe on the end of the big spanner.
Wow. So
Pretty much about.
big. So big digger. It's a big digger.
And that'll about do it. He's very noisy, isn't he?
Yeah.
The old Remy.
Yep. Then I'm so little.
He'll grow bigger. Yeah,
And then I'll be able to drive that digger
that's right.
and fix it all day.
Hopefully you don't have to. Hopefully.
Yeah, I will.
I hope not.
Want to.
Alright, I'll get these new pin wipers in. You can see the old ones are blowing apart, so I'll pick those out and get the new ones in there. Keeps the grease in there a bit longer. I've been in the freezer to shrink them, so I'll pop those in quickly before they warm up. Alright, that's the new wipers in. That should hold the grease in there a bit longer. These are the old ones. You can see the actual sealing part was long gone. Clean all the oil off and give it a wee run and then see if there's any leaks. Check the hydraulic oil. Yep, that's going to need topping up as well. I like to fill my hydraulic oil through the filter, just in case something falls off the top of the can or something. It's not going to go through your pump. That's a bit better. It's leaning back a bit, so it is actually higher than that. I'll just do some light lifting up and down and get all the air purged out of the lines, and then it's ready to go back to work. Oh well, no more leaks. That's what I like to see. All looking pretty good. So I'll give it a bit of work, let the oil warm up, and should know after an hour or so if it's solved the problem. So I've done a day's work with it, and it still hasn't leaked a drop, so I'll call that done. It does actually lift the boom up faster now. There must have been a wee bit leaking past the piston seals, so it's a good thing I did that, because if you leave it leaking it can score the cylinder if the oil was leaking around the same part every time. So it's a good thing I got onto that. Slowly picking away at all the problems. And she's turning into quite a good machine now. So I've done the arm ram, the bucket ram has been done, boom rams, and there's nothing really major that needs doing now, apart from maybe one of those travel motors will need doing at some stage, because it's a wee bit weak, and the tracks are pretty sloppy, but apart from that she's a pretty good machine. Touch wood. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.